Welcome everyone to round 3 of BR second division. We are today at Spa, like real life F1, also racing on this track on this weekend. So the longest track in the calendar, one of the classic F1 tracks, is the one that we will be racing today. Full grid for today's race. As you can see, 20 drivers on the grid today, and well, some drivers have already gone out for their first quali run. We'll see who's going to take pole position today on a track that I guess times are not going to be that close because, you know, Spa is the longest track in the calendar, so there are probably parts in the track where you can make a difference compared to the rest of the drivers. So I feel like pole position is not going to be that close. Maybe not pole position itself, but qualifying itself is going to be a little bit more split than usual. We maybe other tracks like Brazil, for example, last week, quali was much closer, but today I think because of how long the track is and the places you can make the difference in time, I think we're going to see a much not that close qualifying. Maybe for pole it will be between the top guys, but not in general in the whole field. Well, we got already the Alpines that have started their flying lap. We are going to go on with Gatsu, who is the first driver to set a lap today if he doesn't invalidate this run. Going up the hill into Uruch and Radion, now going into the Camel Straight. Gonna be the principal overtaking point on today's race for sure. Coming into the end of the Camel Straight, so 30.5 for the Alpine. We follow him now down the hill, down into third gear. Quickly up to fifth gear, now down to fourth gear once again. Takes a little bit of the outside curve, not a bumpy curve as well. Is he gonna take this one flat? No, he won't. He has to lift a little bit. Not able to take Puhan flat. We are now gonna go into the fast right-hander, also the fast left-hander. Really fast corners now. Maybe medium to fast speed course. Oh, and invalidates. Has invalidated the lap there at the end of sector 2. We're gonna go now with his teammate, with Carl. I'm gonna call him Carl. Carl coming into the end of sector 2, 17.4. I don't think that's a great time for sector 2. We are gonna follow him now, going to the bus stop chicane. He's gonna be the first driver to set a lap then if he doesn't mess it up. Oh, but he invalidates in a really weird way. He just went completely off the road there. Well, both Alpines invalidating their first run. He's gonna go into the pit lane. None of the Alpines was able to set a clean lap. So who's gonna be the one that's gonna be the first driver to set a clean lap? No one has set a lap yet. I think it might be the kick of Genius. It's coming into the final corner. I guess it's going to be the first one. In the line it goes. And yeah, 41.9 is the first lap set of the day. Now, Italiano goes up into second place. 42.5, 6 tenths lower than his rival for the lead. That's a big difference. But now goes Joe into P1. And 3 tenths quicker than Genius. Like I said, it was going to be a very split grid. 41-0 now for Holy. Betis goes up into P4 behind his teammate. 2 tenths lower than his teammate now. Alvaro goes up into P4. The Astons getting their times done. Still really far from Poli, who's got that 41-0 really quick lap time for the Haas driver. 5 tenths quicker than the Aston driver. Now his teammate Hammer time goes up into second place with a 41.4. 4 tenths lower than his teammate still. A Haas 1-2 at the moment. Really good start for the American team. Thirteen drivers have set a lap time already. Still waiting for the next 7 drivers to do so. We gotta go on with Arin, the man from BR. Coming up the hill to Yuruch and Radion. Oh, has a little bit of a slider in the exit, or I think that's a little glitch or bug from the game. Now going into the Camel Straight. One of the drivers that has not set a lap time yet, and oh, ghosting. What was that? Well, Steamit got past. Belmont now goes P1 of 40.9. Really good lap time there by the McLaren driver. Well, it's now McLaren defeating the Hasses for the top position. We're gonna see what teammate will. Teammate Noxy has not been able to set a great lap at all. I think he's currently on preparation lap or supported lap because he's not on an out lap apparently. He's gonna come into the pit lane. Following now Cool Guy into the end of Sector 2. Cool Guy is gonna be doing a 15-0. Doesn't look to be close to the leaders, but he's gonna try and put that Red Bull at least in the top 10 for sure. I think he's gonna be able to do it. Following him to the bus stop chicane, doing a little bit on the grass there, not complicating him in any way. Oh, he has now a little slide that was similar to what Hamilton did in the sprint shootout earlier on today, but he saved the car. And it's P15, well, definitely lost time there in that corner. Well, Narin didn't even set a lap, not a good lap at least, so 53, doesn't count. Following him now once again up the hill, the Red Bulls not looking in great form at the moment. We'll see if Arin can do a better lap now. I know he usually is not fighting for the top spots, but can try and be consistent at least. 30.6 in Sector 1. Most people on the pit lane now, well, it's the longest track in the calendar, so I think they shouldn't be waiting that much to go out for their second run. They might run out of time for the last one if they do. Still, 9 minutes is a pretty good amount of time, though. In Spa, you can't really relax, or you will not be able to do that final run for sure. You need to leave the pit lane with at least 2 minutes to go, if I'm not wrong, to be able to do that final lap and have enough time to warm up the tires, prepare the lap, and all that stuff. Following R-Ring now to the end of Sector 2, and it's going to be a 17.9 and not a great time for R-Ring. I think much lower than his teammate. It's not going to be even close, I think, to the guys that have already set a lap. Going with Nages now, 14.1 in Sector 2. Seems like a really solid second sector for the Mercedes driver. We gotta see what he can do in this final chicane. Gets a nice entry and a nice exit as well, coming into the line, and well, only a P12. Apparently looked better to me, but it wasn't. Arin in the pit lane, same as Cool Guy. Like I said, the Red Bull team not in great form today, at least by now. Gatsu, well, and Carl, who tried a lap at the beginning and both invalidated, now going for it once again. And, well, they apparently were going to be the first one to set a lap time, and finally they're going to be the last ones to do. Because, well, Cryptic's not going to set a lap time either because he's just invalidated. Going to have to come into the pit lane. Now Cal goes up into third position. Really good time there by the Alpine. Well, that's what the Alpines could do after all. Gatsu has not completed the lap yet. He's coming now into the beginning of Sector 3, the final sector. The run into the bus stop chicane, and he's looking solid from what I see in a 113, so he can go up maybe close to his teammate as well. Following him into the final chicane, nails it nice and clean, taking the outside curb, and in the line it's gonna be a P2. Really great lap times there by the Alpines. P2 and P4. We'll see what the rest of the guys can do. The Hasses, who were dominating at the beginning, now demoted to P3 and P6. Now Genius moves up to P5. Only on a lap, but it wasn't looking like a good lap. Well, once you get a really good lap time like they did at the beginning, there's not much to improve, and it has to come into the pit lane. Hammer time is being blocked there by one of the kick guys. Actually, it's gonna give him a nice toe there into the bus stop chicane. This actually working really well for Hammer time. I mean, I think the slipstream is not legal, but it's not his teammate, and well, he now needs to make sure to block him and not let him do the lap. Well, that's what he's done now. And Hammer time will not get a great lap in the end. Well, that might be a little bit polemic there at the end. Who was that? Was it Manu? It was Manu, but was he even on a lap? I guess he probably was on a lap because it didn't even care to move out of the way. Well, technically, if he was on a lap, then we could say it was legal blocking, because technically he was on a lap as well, just that probably Hammer time was faster, catch him, and then he has a legal excuse to block him and not let him improve, because, well, he knew he was going to mess it up by giving him the slipstream. So I guess there's not going to be a penalty if Manu was in fact on a lap. That might be investigated later anyway. Following now Alex, nah, he's not on a lap. We're gonna go with Bellman, the man that's leading the pack at the moment. Following him into the bus stop chicane is gonna be trying to improve that provisional pole position time. Got really close on his last run, and now in the line it goes and improves nearly a tenth. Still good defense for his pole position. 40.8, the only one to get in the 48s. But we will have to wait and see if someone is able to defeat that. Cryptic, the only one not to set a lap yet. Then we get Arin, who's trying once again. Well, he's still with the 53.1. Following him to the end of Sector 2, Arin. Looking forward to say what's possible for the Red Bull team, because it's not looking great so far. 15.0. Doesn't look great, but can try and make it at least not last position. He goes a little bit wide, not enough to invalidate, not losing time as well. Getting into the final chicane. And in the line goes Sari, moves up to P18 just ahead of his teammates. Teammates still in the pit lane. Cryptic in the pit lane as well. He's gonna go for a one shot at this point. There's 3 minutes to go. Nage starting what's gonna be his final flying lap. There's not more time for another lap after this one. Coming to the end of Sector 1, and is not improving. Not great news for Nages, who already needs some big improvement to move away from that P14. It's not been a great quali for the Mercedes team. Following him through Kuhan. Now we get into the end of Sector 2. What time's he been able to do there? We'll see now. It's Oh, and something goes wrong there and goes completely off the road, and that's lap over, quali over as well for the Mercedes driver. I guess he was moving out of the way. Was improving 2 tenths, could have got to, well, wasn't going to improve much anyway in terms of position. So, well, that's the end of qualifying for Nages. Arin coming in the pit lane, also his final run, and most people, like I said before on an out lap, Belmont has retired from the session. He's not going to be doing another lap. Let's keep an eye on this because he will not be able to defend his pole position against Gatsu, Poli, Alex, who all of them are looking strong. We could say it's a four-way battle at least for pole position between 4 different teams. We got the McLaren, who's going to be trying to survive there in the lead without doing a final run. We got then Alpine with Gatsu, Haas with Poli, and Aston with Alex. And well, who knows, a surprise from maybe Alvaro, who's not that far if you think about it. Could give us a little surprise. It's harder, yes, but could still give a nice surprise if he manages to get pole position. We gotta go on with Poli, who's just started his flying lap. He was the man that started leading this qualifying after the first run. Got that really good lap time up there with his teammate. Now his teammate is down in P11. He's not been able to improve also with that incident happened with the kick driver with Betis. Now we follow Poli into the Camel Straight. How much is he able to improve? He needs 2 tenths to be able to take pole position today. He's not improving at the moment, basically matching his previous lap time in this first sector, which you shouldn't worry that much because it's a sector that's basically just a long straight, only one corner involved in that sector. So not that bad news for Poli. Still has the last 2 sectors to improve, especially in sector 2 where is where you can gain the more time. Due to all the corners, you can make a difference there. He needs to be now focused in this second sector. Oh, has a little bit of a slider by clipping the curb. That may cost him some thousands that could be crucial to take pole position today. Improving a tenth. Now it's all going to depend on the final sector. He's getting closer. He's going to need a mega sector 3 to be able to take pole position today. Following him into the line, coming into the bus stop chicane, is going to be able to do it. Hal already finished the lap. Celine also moves up into P5. The Racing Bull driver, we're going to follow now Poli. Alex moves up to 3rd. Poli, can he take pole position today? Yes, he can by 1/10. Moves up ahead of Belmont. Cryptic goes up to P3 after a one-shot mega quali there by the Racing Bull. Failed to complete a lap in the first 2 runs, but now with 1 run it's enough to make it up into P3. Now can Gatsu take pole position maybe today? No, he's already aborted a lap. Something gone wrong there. It's going to be Poli. Started leading qualifying, then lost the lead after the second run, and in the end recovers it and is going to be starting on pole position for today's race. A great lap. Oh, and Milan Langer goes up to P3 out of nowhere as well. Ferrari were outside the top 10, I think, the whole session, and now Langer on the final run moves up to 3rd. And look at this, we get literally Haas, McLaren, Ferrari, Racing Bull, Alpine, Aston, Kick, Williams. 8 different teams in the first 8 spots in the grid. This is going to be a great race to watch at the beginning. No teamwork going to be seen in the first stages of the race, I guess. The grid really mixed up there between the teams. Well, in the end, quali was actually really tight. I predicted it was going to be much more split, but it wasn't. The times are still really close, even in a track like Spa. Well, like I said before, 8 different teams in the top 8 positions. The only teams that are not there are Mercedes and Red Bull, who had a horrible qualifying. It's going to be both Red Bull starting at the back, P19 and P20, and then Mercedes starting P16 and P18. Oh, nice, it's a wet race. It's gonna make things even more interesting. In the wet, anything can really happen. I wonder if anyone... no, nothing. I guess Park for May is off, so you can change the setup mid-session. So I guess that's not gonna be a problem with the picking wet or dry setups. So, once again, 8 different teams battling for victory today, apparently. Poli getting that pole position at the end of qualifying. Bellman, who couldn't do the final run, or maybe rushed it and did it way too early, could have been on pole as well. And well, we'll see what the Red Bulls and the Mercedes can do. Starting at the back, they can fight back. What the teammates of the top 8 drivers can do to help drivers get the win. Also, Hammer Time, I remember he was really good on the first run, but then fell down massively, down to P12. Also had that incident with the kick with Betis. Betis is starting on P15. Big difference as well between the McLaren teammates. Belmont starting on second place. Meanwhile, his teammate Noxie starting on P17. We got someone swapping to the full wet tires. That is Arin. Arin taking a little bit of a risk. Nothing to lose starting at the back of the grid. Everyone else is on the intermediate tires. We don't know how crazy the weather will get, if it's going to dry up. Apparently, by Arin's choice, I can assume it's going to get even worse. But Inter seemed to be the better tire to be on now. For what the game has picked, obviously, it's not difficult to guess that. Still waiting for the beginning of this Belgian GP. Well, we should get going now. Yeah, the light's coming now. We're going to get started with the Belgian GP on the wet conditions. And it's lights out and away we go. And Poli gets a good start. Belmont around the outside. Can't do really anything, or can he? He's trying to outbrake Poli by the outside, but can't. Poli manages to hold him to the lead of the race. Well, Noxie has disconnected. I think there's some decent going on there. Apparently, game puts him lead in the race, but we know he's at the back of the grid. Poli in the lead of the race, builds the gap quickly against Belmont. Timing is totally glitched. I wonder if DRS will be enabled or not, because sometimes in the wet it does get enabled, but we will find out in the next lap. Let's get on with the data. Everyone on the intermediate tires, don't need to look at that anymore then. And Alex has had one of the worst starts of the race, falling down to P18. Horrible start by Alex there. Down to P19 now. 13 places lost in the beginning of the race for the Aston driver. Gatsu moving up 2 places up into P3 of the race. Lanier losing as well in the start. Well, the wet conditions have definitely split everything up, messed everything absolutely up. Hammer Time down into P20 as well. A lot of things going on the race. One of the kicks going into the gravel a little bit there, quickly recovering, but been put under pressure now by Slin. Slin coming there, is going to try and make the move there, maybe down the inside. But quickly, Genius recovers the momentum and will defend. We will be able to defend against Slim, but Slim might try and send a dive there down the inside. Doesn't go for it, it's too risky to brake late in the rain. Look at Poli already built a 1.2 second gap against Belmont. DRS not enabled. We are not going to be getting DRS on this race, at least by now. So maybe we are not going to be seeing much overtaking. Slim battling against Joe for P8 of the race. Joe's got a really good start. They're moving up 5 places in total at the moment. Only dominating the grid completely. 1.7 seconds lead already. He's not even deploying the battery as much as Bellman, and he's already dominating the grid completely. Banging wheels goes Paul and Alvaro. Alvaro defending around the outside. Banging wheels, the two of them. Hopefully no damage done there. And now the Ferrari is going to try and get in the mix as well of Oliver. Oliver getting on close to the Aston. Not enough close to attack and go for the move. Gatsu also losing time against Bellman. It's a lonely race for Poli in the lead by now. Bellman is holding up into that second position, building the gap also against Gatsu, but unable to close up the gap to Poli. Poli is defending, Gatsu is defending now against Cryptic, looking to put the pressure on him. BSC on the race. I don't know what's that for, because no one has DNF'd. I don't see any car gone round or anything. So I'm not really sure what's the reason for this vehicle safety car. We get going once again. Poli now with a 2.7 second lead. That virtual safety car helped him gain even more time. Well, Poli completely destroying the grid in just 2 laps of racing. Langer losing more positions now against Genius. Well, Langer, I guess the conditions didn't suit him at all. He's lost already 4 places, and I think all of those 4 were on track, or like not by an incident or anything. After the starts, not done well at all. Gatsu trying to close up the gap a little bit on Belmont. Belmont already 3 seconds behind Poli. I don't know, but that Poli car is basically, it's flying completely on these conditions. In Poli was dry and was really close between these two, but now in the race, in the wet conditions, it's a devastating difference between Poli and Belmont, and basically between Poli and everyone else in the grid. Cryptic looking to attack Gatsu for P3 of the race. Well, this is the battle to watch now. Cryptic versus Gatsu for P3 of the race. Gatsu going there down the inside. He doesn't want to lose the position now. He has to move into the inside again. And, well, Cryptic with the slipstream is going to try and send a dive bomb there down the inside. Sends the move. Can he make it clean and stick there? No, not yet. I think he's going to try around the outside. Both leaving enough space to each other, and he manages to get the move done, but I guess this isn't over yet. Gatsu can still try and send a dive bomb there down the inside. He will definitely have to go for it. Goes down the inside. Now it will depend who gets the better traction, and it's apparently, yeah, it's Cryptic gets the better traction, but now let's not forget that Gatsu's gonna get a really good slipstream up there into huge Radion, into the Camel's Ray, but car slides a little bit, and I think Gatsu has it under control now. No, Cryptic has it under control now. Gran also getting there down the inside. Much better straight line speed than his rivals. They're around the outside, has to break the latest, and well, the place he had won against Gatsu, he's now gonna lose it again. Loses the place again against Gatsu, and now is gonna be put under pressure by Genius. Down the inside, sends the Genius. Oh, banging wheels, push to pass there. Aggressive racing between the two drivers. Down the inside, it stays Bran. and forces a little bit off the road there. No, I think he gave him the enough space, little space, but the enough space deserved for the kick driver that's dropped now to P8. I think there's some damaged wing apparently I saw. Now down the inside it goes. Genius defending against Albert, who's getting in the mix as well. Well, now Belmont has managed to keep the gap a little bit close into Paulie. Paulie's not been able to build that much of a gap. Maybe he's saving, or maybe Paulie killed the tires at the beginning of the race. Maybe a more aggressive setup. And now maybe he's gonna about to pay the consequences of that. We'll find out if he's just trying to save, administrate better the race, or if he actually has an issue with the tires, which would be the only explanation on why he's dropping now, losing time to Belmont. Langer there around the outside is attacking Bran for that 5th place of the race. Gatsu finally 1.1 behind Cryptic. Cryptic gets a solid P3 at the moment. Now Bran's going to be attacked by Langer there, getting on the slipstream of the Williams car. Around the outside goes Langer. It seems to be an easy pass for him. Yeah, Bran doesn't even try and defend that one. Now as teammate Joe behind him, we'll see if there's going to be any team orders between the Williams guys. I would say Joe maybe looks in a better place than Bran right now, having in mind his 1-6 positions, and it's at the back of his teammates. Teammate losing against Langer, and basically Joe having a full battery, meanwhile his teammate not in great position in terms of battery. Genius in the pit lane. First driver to pit on today's race. Well, we'll see what tires he's gonna go for. No, actually no, Betis and Kulde had already pitted. He's going for fresh intermediate tires. Well, if he's pitted now, then it means he is going for a 2-stopper. 100% confirmed, because he would need to have extended these intermediates to lap 11 if he wanted to do a 1-stopper, obviously. But he hasn't, so yeah, he's going for a 2-stop strategy. And well, Paulie losing time still against Belmont. The track still looks same as wet as at the beginning of the race. That hasn't really changed. Belmont 2.2 seconds behind the Haas driver. They are, though, building a massive gap against Cryptic, 7 seconds behind already. That's a big difference. Gatsu not losing that much time against Cryptic, holding Langer behind, both with similar pace. Joe still at the back of his team, and I think there probably should be team orders, I don't know, but I see Joe in a better position than Bran. So I think they probably should make the swap. Well, Bran has got in the pit lane. They are all of these guys going for the 2-stop strategy. They don't really believe tires make it to the end of the race. We got a yellow flag, that's Nagus off into the end of sector 2. Well, Nagus gets a 10-second time penalty for cutting a corner. .3 the gap between the top two, still extending more and more the difference between them and Cryptic. Cryptic now being caught by Gatsu once again. I guess Stars died because Gatsu, remember, was much slower than him at the beginning, but now he is back on the arrest range, and he's gonna be attacking probably soon. It's probably due to tire degradation affecting some drivers more than others. 5/10 difference between Gatsu and Cryptic. Now Gatsu's gonna get this slipstream on Cryptic, who's gonna be attacking for that lead of the race. Not lead of the race, P3 of the race. The battle for the lead also might get on soon because, well, you can see 2-second difference only between Bellman and Polly, and it's slowly getting lowering the difference between these two. Cryptic comes into the pit lane, same as Gatsu. Joe stays out, same as Langer. Langer 10 seconds behind, 11 seconds behind nearly from the leaders. Well, definitely the guys that have stayed out at the moment are going for a one-stop strategy, or at least gonna try and do a one-stop strategy. Track's definitely not gonna dry up now, so they are not gonna be waiting to go for the slicks in their next stop. Definitely not what's going on. They're just trying to extend to do the one-stop work. Genius gets now a penalty. Hut already stops, now trying to go down the inside, therefore, and it forces him into a mistake, forces Alvaro into a mistake and gets the move done. Nice attempt there by Alvaro, getting the move done against Genius there. No, Genius against, it was. Well, anyway, someone went wide there and took the opportunity and went for it. Now we get Polly and Langer in the pit lane, same as Joe. Belmont still staying out. Well, these are the guys then might try and do the one stop. I don't know if it's actually gonna work, because they are gonna have to do what, 13 laps I think on this tire. And if this intermediate tires didn't even last 9 laps, or lasted 9 laps, no, 8 laps, then I don't know how they're gonna manage to make them work to the end. I guess they're probably stopping again anyway. Yeah, I definitely don't see them making it work. And Polly is still comes out in second position, and is 14 seconds behind Belmont's rival for the win today. Well, what I remember, he had a big gap to the leaders. Langer is down into P6 with fresh intermediate tires. Belmont's, like I said, probably going to try and extend those to lap 11. And that's the only chance he really has, I think, to win this race. by doing a one stop, opposite to what I guess Polo is gonna do. He's probably gonna do a two stop anyway. I don't really see those tires surviving to the line. So well, Belmont probably gonna extend, or if he pits, I guess he's gonna be happy with P2 finish today then. No, he has to come in, yeah, he's gonna be happy with the P2 then. I don't really see him winning this one after losing that much time to Poli in this last lap. Lost around a second, I guess. It was maybe not that big of a difference, but he's gonna have to get the tires in temperature, I guess, and all that. Maybe even more of a lose of time. You can see Poli already coming there into turn 1. Belmont still getting outside the pit lane. The gap was around 2 seconds. And now it's gonna be around 4 seconds, I guess. Yeah, 4.3 second difference, nearly 5 second difference. They shouldn't have waited one extra lap. Remember, Spa's a big track. So it wasn't the smartest of the ideas for Belmont to stay out one more lap. And, well, Nade's been disqualified from the race. Gonna be our first retirement from this one. Poli once again increasing the gap against Belmont. Poli dominating today's race. Belmont with one lap fresher tires. We'll see if that one lap can make the difference in some way. Let's remember Spa is a long track, so one lap difference of degradation means more than on other tracks. Turn telemetry on. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, to be honest. Last season I got asked to not do it, so I'm really not sure if I can do it or not. Well, Belmont's starting to close up the gap to Poli. Still, I can give some data on ERS if you want later, because I can still check the steering wheel, so you can see it there when I go on onboard camera, if you want to check that. 4.1 the gap between Belmont and Poli. Track's still pretty much wet, still raining. Yeah, it's the same as the beginnings. Hasn't gone any better. Well, the gap was 5 seconds in the previous lap, now it's down to 4 seconds. Belmont maybe still does have a chance. Like I said, the tires, Belmont has now in much better conditions than, well, maybe not that much better, but it's still better conditions. One lap in Spa is really long. So, well, you can see now he's closing up that gap. And it's gonna be interesting to the line. Also having in mind that we don't know if he's actually gonna pit again or not. I would say they probably will both pit again, because of pitting earlier than lap 11, but the thing is now Belmont's going to be having the better tire for this whole stint. So now it's his opportunity to close up the gap, because at the end, the final stint, I don't think he can aim for an overcut again, because it's going to be too late, I think, to try and close the difference again in the final laps. So probably would try an undercut instead for the final pit stop. 3.5 second gap between the leaders. Probably not looking that comfortable with that win, even though he's looking to be the fastest through all the race, at least at the beginning. Then Belmont started matching his times, then improving his times. And now, one more second discounted from the gap between the leaders. 3.3 separates the top two in lap 12 of the race. Cryptic now solid on P3 of the race, not been put under pressure by... Oh, and it's dry. Cool guys on the medium tires. He is 13 seconds behind Betis. We will have to check if he's gaining time or not. Well, if it goes to dry, it's gonna benefit Paulie because he can pit then and get even tires with Belmont once again. And yeah, the mediums are not working yet, like you see. Sikuga not doing a great job in the mediums at the moment. Three-second difference between the top two. 2.9 now. Belmont flying a track at the moment. We get Brandon against Gatsu battling for P4 of the race. We get Italiano and Genius also having a little bit of a fight here for P12 of the race. Joe, who, well, still involved in this run, I thought he was faster than Bran, but Bran never let him through. Now he's stuck a little bit behind here. He's gonna have to overtake these guys once again. Poor guy gets a penalty while he's on last position, doesn't really matter. And 2.1 now the difference. Once again, Belmont still flying track. The gap is the same as it was before they stopped in the pit lane. But now the difference is that Belmont has better tires than Paulie, and he's gonna be pushing. He's gonna be pushing to try and close up that gap. At least he's in the same condition he was before they pitted. Now we will have to see if he's capable of getting into the DRS range, even though DRS is not enabled. You get what I mean. He's gonna then try and attack for that lead of the race, or maybe just sit there and wait for an undercut in the final laps of the race. Now he's lost a little bit of time. They're starting maybe to struggle a little bit on the tires as well. Goes into the gravel. That's gonna cost him time. Gonna cost him some tenths at least. 2.9. Maybe the degradation starts hitting us well now in Belmont's car there. 2.9. The gap extends once again. Wasn't a great lap from Belmont. Lost a second there to Paulie. Paulie also knows he needs to start catching up the pace. So if he falls asleep, he's gonna have Belmont right at his back at the end of the race. Still nearly half race distance to go, so he still needs to keep awake. The race is not over at all. The race still on between the top two. Langer now battling against Bran, cannot overtake him yet. Bran with really old tires compared to the rest of the grid. Well, 2-lap difference, but you know, in Spa, 2-lap difference is much bigger than on other tracks because of how long this track is. Oh, and that's going wide there, now banging wheels. Oh, and that's the Williams cutting the pit lane entry. Goes into the pit lane. I guess it was a bad misunderstanding between both drivers because that wasn't good at all. Very messy maneuver there by the two of them. I would have to see that one again to see who was exactly at fault. But that's run into the pit lane, really early pit stops. Gone now for fresh intermediate tires. Joe still battling against Lynn for P6 of the race. Belmont once again closing up the gaps. 2.4 now behind Paulie. Closed up a little bit once again, and well, we'll see when the pit stop comes. It's probably going to be around lap 17, I guess. We will see Paulie come into the pit lane. Going on board with Joe now. trying to get Porcelain, has not been able to do in the previous laps, and well, it's not looking really close now to do so as well. Doesn't have really good saving of battery to attack anyway. And well, 1.9 now the gap between Poli and Belmont. The battle for the lead of the race is going to be on at any moment now. We will see what Poli's reaction will be if Belmont manages to chase him. And now DRS is enabled. That means I guess we can start swapping into the slick tires. We can keep an eye on Cool Guy. Send the slicks. We'll see if he's closing up time on Betis or not. Aaron comes into the pit lane. He's probably going to be going on to the slick tires. There's also good news for Poli. Oh, and Italiano's out of the race, and that's a safety car. That's a full safety car, and that's going to change absolutely everything. We're going to get a relaunch now with dry tire conditions. The truck's still wet, but I think it's time to put on the dry set of tires. This is going to change absolutely everything. We're going to have around 5 laps of racing after the safety car goes away. Well, both Mercedes retiring from the race. Like I said before, it wasn't a great day for them. And well, Red Bull also not having a great day. And well, now other team that adds up to those not having a great day is the Kick guys. Well, who knows, maybe they can now get something better with this safety car. And we are definitely going to see everyone diving into the pit lane. They're going to have to go for fresh, I guess, going to be mediums to go into the end of the race. Softs will die if they put them on. So it's definitely going to be medium tires to the end of the race for basically everyone. There's going to be a little sprint to the line. 5-lap sprint, I would say. Now here comes Poli and he's going to enter the pit lane. Yes, obviously he was going to do it. There goes Belmont. Now with the DRS enabled, there's going to be an open battle for the win. Maybe not only between these two, but maybe Cryptic can get into it as well. Maybe Gatsu, Langer. Having in mind that on the right conditions, they could well be able to stick it to the DRS and try and do something up there. Yeah, everyone, like I said before, coming in the pit lane. It's absolutely pointless to stay out. The track is not for the wet tires anymore. Like I said, everyone was going to go into the mediums. It was the most obvious decision. Softs really don't work for the laps remaining. Yeah, basically everyone on fresh medium tires. Like I said, it's going to be a little sprint to the line. Probably around a 5-lap sprint to finish this race. Well, we're gonna get going now with this race. Oli will get the relaunch. Belmont will do everything to stay in the DRS. Shouldn't be hard for him to do. Like I said, it's gonna be a 5-lap sprint. DRS gonna be enabled on the next lap after the one of the restart, obviously. And well, we get going now. Top 14 without the penalty, so it's an open battle here for the win. Anyone can really win this one. Cryptic gets a really bad restart. Gatsu has a little look at turn 1, but finally decides to not dive it. But now he will get a nice tow up the hill. And might try and take that P3 of the race away from Cryptic. Getting on this slipstream goes Gatsu. No DRS open yet. It's not easy to overtake, let's remember that. Around the outside, he's gonna send a dive bomb around the outside, but he has no room to do it. Has to back off in the end. And now it's gonna be an interesting fight for the lead between Belmont and Polly. Remember, with in Spa is one of the easiest tracks to overtake in the calendar, so might have to be a little bit of strategic decision from the top two and when they want to attack. Due to all the slipstream you get going up the hill plus the DRS, it's not easy to defend around this track on the Camel Straight, but we'll see what Polly is able to do now. Well, DRS enabled now. We are gonna see the first attack coming from Belmont. Does he want to go for it now? He probably will try. Gap is 4 attempts. He's gonna be getting a little bit of a slipstream there going up the hill. Like I said, yeah, 3 attempts should be more than enough to attack for the lead of the race. I don't think Paul is gonna go that defensive. He knows he can't do really much about it. In Spa, you really cannot defend your position that well. And that's Belmont moving up into P1 of the race. Well, what he couldn't do in the wet conditions was going to be interesting to see what happened without the safety car. He's now managed to do it in the dry. Now he's going to try and open that gap. He's going to try and pull away in these dry conditions, try to break that 1 second gap. But Polly will be looking to fight back. He's not going to let that win go away that easy. Gatsu gets now a 3-second time penalty. Not great news for the Alpine driver. 1 second gap. Well, that was crazy. Oh, and that's Polly off on his own. Made a bad mistake there trying to overpush the car. Polly, from nearly winning this race to what could be a total heartbreak, losing the car there in the fast corners there at the end of sector 2. Now has fallen down to nearly 2 seconds behind Belmont. Now with the tire without the ideal grip, I guess, he's gonna have to try and defend against Cryptic. Cryptic getting close to the back of him. He has no DRS to defend. Cryptic with a little bit better ERS than his rival on the Haas, but also being attacked there by Gatsu down the inside. Mega dive from there. I think he gave him a little tap there to Polly. Now Gatsu's gonna be looking aggressive to attack Polly for the second position of the race. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the end. Here comes Gatsu on the slipstream. Polly cannot do anything about it really. It's pointless to do anything about it anyway because he has that time penalty. Down the inside goes Gatsu, gets 2 in 2 different corners. Mega job there by Gatsu in overtaking, though the penalty is gonna mess him up completely. His podium chances. I don't think he has the pace to pull away the 3 seconds. Definitely not in the remainder of the race. He might even drop off the points like it's going now. Bellman with a really good saving of battery. I think he has this race under control. Just gonna try and take that car into the line and nice and safe. With 2 laps remaining after this one. Poli right at the back of Gatsu. Poli Cryptic's gonna be attacking Poli very hard. So Gatsu might have just messed up his P2 chances by he's gonna now be giving the arrest to Poli in the next laps. Well, at least if he doesn't manage to break the arrest range, of course, which I see not that easy to do. Well, it's gonna have to be old style overtake for Cryptic if he wants that P2 of the race. He's gonna need to overtake Poli on the same conditions, both having the DRS open, but he can get a nice toe there into the camel straight. He won't be getting that because he didn't get the better exit. Well, now he's closing a little bit the gap. We'll see. Poli right at the back of Gatsu, 7 tenths behind. Cryptic getting closer into the past driver, but doesn't have batteries. Wasted all of it. Well, Cryptic now by the opposite, losing time against Poli. I really don't think he has a chance to overtake for that second position of the race. Poli is doing his best as well to stick to the back of Gatsu. If Gatsu manages to build a second gap, it's going to be game over for Poli as well, but I really don't see that happening. Poli is managing the race the right way, at least to save that P2. He's definitely going to be disappointed to not be able to win this one. It was, I won't say an easy win, but he could try and fight for it. At least after the mistake, it was totally over. Final lap of the race, Bellman's gonna take a great victory today in Spa. Started P2, found the pace mid-race to chase after Poli. Finding the safety car gave him a little hand. He managed to get the overtake done, then Poli made a mistake, and that opened him the freeway into this lap 22 of the race to take the victory today. Poli will go around the outside and finally overtakes once again. And Langer is attacking Cryptic around the outside. Cryptic defends very well. He doesn't want to lose the podium after not being able to overtake Poli. He at least wants to finish on P3 of this race. Joe, who finally moves up into P6 after race, teammate Bran didn't get the good pace today, opposite than on quali. Finally was a battle between Bellman and Poli for the win of the race. Bellman managed it really, really well. Poli closing up the gap, but it's too late. Bellman has basically full battery, so it's not gonna matter at all. And there's no real overtaking points coming here into the end of the race. Bellman will need to make a mistake, so Poli could win, and that's most likely not gonna happen unless he spins badly on the final corner, which there's not really a chance that does happen. Following now Bellman into the line, it's going to be a win for the McLaren driver. Maybe his teammate will not be scoring points today, but he at least can take some good points for the team by winning this Belgian GP. Bellman wins in Spa, Poli in second, Cryptic in third, completes the podium for today's race. Gatsu falls down to P7, could have been much better without the penalty, obviously. Well, and that's it for today. Thanks to all for watching. Well, not for today because we'll be back later for F3. I don't know if any one of you watches F3, but I'll be there in a couple hours. So thanks to all and goodbye.